Welcome back. You are listening to Whissel Wednesdays here on AM 1170. The Answer. My name is Kyle Whissel, your host with Whissel Realty, joined as always by Mr. Jason Hall with Team Home Loans, and our special guest today, Matt Rinkey, Illumination Wealth.
Thanks.
It's good to have you, man.
Great to be here.
Yeah, I met you on the TV show. Now we're here on the radio show. It's just like media celebrity, dude.
All forms of media here. We can do it all.
I love it. So, Jason, you had a question before the break.
So, Matt, who do the markets want? What the drum roll here?
That's crazy.
Yeah, that is crazy. I'm trying to remember what numbers. I'm going to have to get something there.
I would say you're choosing between the lesser of two evils. As far as who the markets want, it's hard to figure out. I think the market's actually predicting that a Democrat is going to win as it stands right now. And the reason probably for a lot of the volatility is just the political uncertainty. But I would say, like, when you think about who's going to be bad for the market, who's going to be good for the market, people probably thought Obama would be terrible for the financial markets. And that hasn't proven to be the case. And they always think, conventional wisdom doesn't always ring true when it comes to the market. So
you're right. Like Clinton, people at first thought that would be bad and actually rolled.
Yeah.
He during his 8 years, again, I'm more of a right-wing conservative, but during his 8 years, the market did really, really well. So you never know.
You never know. And markets go in cycles. I mean, the president, how much impact do they actually have on the market? I don't know how much at the end of the day.
With an executive order, he might just close down the markets. Who knows? Maybe before Obama leaves.
Totally.
If things start to... I could see him do that. Like, if things got out of control and we dropped 1,000 points, he might just go, well, I've thought about it, and let's go ahead and just shut down the markets for the next month until we decide. Because he doesn't want things to happen bad when he wraps up.
Totally, and that's the problem whenever you have anybody in office like that. Disrupting the financial markets from letting them do their bidding is difficult, and it only exacerbates things and makes things worse.
Crazy. So, Matt, talk a little bit about what you do at Illumination Wealth.
Yeah, well, we provide, I would say, concierge-level financial life management. So we're really looking at our clients' entire financial life, making sure that they have a plan, they know what they want, they know how to keep more of the money that they want, they grow their wealth, but they also just live a great life today. I think so many people strive for the future and they forget about today, or they're not doing enough about the future and they're only living for the moment. So how do we do it today, live a great life, and one in the future?
So both and?
Both.
So one of the big things people are focusing on today is taxes.
Totally.
I know I just met with my CPA the other day and got to learn how much money I'm going to get to cut a check for here come April 15th.
Aren't you paying quarterlies yet?
I'm supposed to. I just can't seem to do that. I'm not very good at paying bills. I suck at that. But I have a good accountant now in office, Lisa. Awesome. So Lisa will make sure I actually pay my quarterlies like I'm supposed to. But if you leave that crap to me, it's not happening.
Well, and it's like, do I really want to send my money like, a year early, or 9 months early? I really don't want to until they force you. But I guess it's a good problem to have, paying taxes. If
you can get your mind to wrap around the fact that the more you pay in taxes, that means you made more money. So technically that's a good thing, but it just defies human logic to write a check and not get something in return. That's the hard part.
You got executive order. I mean, come on, man. What do you know?
So, Matt, for the people that are listening to the show right now, it's tax time. What are some of the, everybody knows the basic deductions, but what are some of the ones that people overlook that, they might not be thinking about?
Yeah, I mean, there's oftentimes a lot of them. I mean, we could be involved in our kids' school and they do a fundraiser. We might have to commute back and forth for the school, or we might bake something, or we might send out, mailers and use our own stamps. So all those things that we pay out of pocket for a charity can be deducted. Even the mileage driving to and from, that can be deducted at 14 cents. So I know it's not huge, but these little things can certainly add up. So that's one area just to be mindful of is charitable deductions, and not just donating money, but also how you donate your time or donate, cooking supplies or
the mileage
supplies.
That is a good thing.
So you can donate, or you can write off the mileage when you're going to charitable events.
Yeah, to and from, or if there's any transportation, doing Meals on Wheels, driving around to and from, dropping off food.
What if you're going to like a 5K run and the 5K run does benefit a charity?
Yeah, that's a good question.
Talk to your CPA, right?
I think if you got audited, you could say, I was going to this charity event that benefited whatever foundation. I think you could probably pull that off.
There's probably a way to finagle that one in there for sure. So, I mean, that's one. I mean, another one that I see happening with clients is, they could be young, they could be old. Reinvested dividends. So a lot of times maybe they got a gift when they were young and they were investing in stocks and they were reinvesting the dividends that they were getting from these stocks. Well, they paid tax on those dividends that they received throughout the years. But if you go and sell that stock today, if you're not careful, you might be paying tax twice on it. So you've got to really be mindful of, hey, what was the reinvested dividends that I already paid tax on, and how does that adjust my current ownership cost? It's kind of like the value of a home. Like, what did I pay for the home? What's my original basis? Well, all those dividends impact the basis, and so you don't want to be paying twice on that. And so, there's some, retirees who've been reinvesting dividends for years, but at the same time, I see some of my younger clients who, maybe had a dividend reinvestment plan set up by their parents when they were young, and they have a good chunk of change now, and they don't want to be paying tax and paying thousands of dollars on stuff that they don't need to.
Have any favorite dividend stocks?
I just like all the stocks that go up. So
sounds like a financial guy, right? I like them all to go up.
Yeah.
I don't want anything that goes down.
Exactly. I don't really get too involved in the nitty gritty of individual stocks. That's more like forest versus the trees. We just want to make sure that our clients have the right investment plan. Okay. That's the big picture, is figuring out, hey, what should we be investing in? How do we capitalize on our skill set, our strengths? And whether that's investing in the stock market or whether that's investing in real estate, more along the lines of what you guys do, our people's plan needs to be based on who they are and what's really good for them and what makes sense for them and what are they good at.
Definitely. Again, you're listening to Matt Rinkey with Illumination Wealth here on Whissel Wednesdays. If you want to connect with Matt, get some more info on him and his company, shoot us a text or give us a call, 619-663-SELL, 619-663-7355. And then, Matt, I know that Jason's here, he's a lender, does a lot of refinances. There's some things you can do with that tax-wise as well.
Well, yeah, just in the sense of you can deduct your mortgage interest. That's a big thing for people, a huge benefit of homeownership. But even if you refinance, and you might pay points on a refinance, and you can actually deduct those over the course of the loan as well. So if there's $5,000 of mortgage points that worth of points that you paid on your mortgage, you can deduct that over the life of the loan. So all these things, whether it's charitable, whether it's reinvested dividends, whether it's refinancing points, your mortgage interest, these can be thousands and thousands of dollars for people over time that it just pays to be really mindful of.
Do you get any of those when you rent, Jason?
You don't get any of those when you rent. They give you a basic tax deduction as a renter, and it's not a good choice. And you see a lot of renters, and they go, well, I'm going to save. I'll buy next year. Right. Check in with them again, Matt and Kyle, and hey, how's it going? I'm going to save. I'm going to buy next year.
Yeah.
And they just never get ahead, and they don't realize you have to sacrifice, purchase real estate, invest in the market, have a financial planner, have a wise financial plan so that you can get ahead, because if you just keep renting, you're never, ever going to get ahead.
Yeah,
I'm waiting for that book where I rented from day one. I'm now 100 years old and I made $1 billion. Go rent. I don't think it's ever going to be written. It's never going to happen. Not that rich people don't rent from time to time, but it's not a long-term plan. And I think you'd probably agree to that.
Yeah, renting is, you're betting against real estate, essentially. You're not betting on real estate continuing to do well as is done over the long term. And there's a lot of benefits from incorporating it into a financial plan. Not having a mortgage when you're retired is a big one. Do you want to keep paying rent and not being in control of the rental increases that you may face going on in your 60s, 70s, 80s versus imagine spending $2,000 on a mortgage, but then not having to pay that the rest of your life.
Yeah, once you're done. I'm sure you have a lot of clients that's their goal, or they're already there. And, they're in their mid-60s, maybe mid-50s, and they already have their mortgage paid off, and they're living with only having to worry about property taxes and insurance.
That's huge. Exactly. And that's a huge part of a plan. And we're not advising people to buy a house and, cash out all the equity and continue to have house payments in retirement. A good financial plan is going to have them with a home paid off and be financially independent at a reasonable time, not continuing to pay a huge mortgage for the rest of their life or rent.
And Jason, talking about retirees, I had a client call me yesterday who was interested in Prop 60 and 90, the ability to transfer a tax base over once you're over 55. Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, so once you're over the age of 55, you're allowed to purchase another property similar or less value. And that's the key. It has to be the same or less. So if you sell your house for $400, you can't buy for $401. Doesn't work. If you sell your house for $400, you have to buy $399, $350, $300. And then you can transfer over your current tax assessed value. Well, people go, well, if you're selling at $400, isn't your assessed value at $400? No. Your assessed value is when you purchase the home. So for a lot of these clients, they purchased a home 20, 30 years ago. Their home value was assessed at $100,000. So their property tax is 1/4 of what the person they just sold it to has to pay. And so they can take that tax assessed value, transfer it 55 and beyond, or older, didn't say beyond, I guess it is beyond, and keep that lower tax. And that's a huge, huge benefit. I've seen many people not want to buy a house because their taxes go up so much.
Totally.
You know, but if you can do that, that's a huge advantage to still get into the right home, into the right neighborhood, find out where you want to go, and that's anywhere in the state of California.
Yeah,
so
and
it's not just County
my
San
dad,
Diego.
for example, he had bought the house he lived in back in the 80s for like $200,000, and when he went to sell it, the home was now worth $700,000 plus, and so he was able to sell that home, and he went and bought something for around $600,000. And he's, instead of having his taxes based on that $600,000 at usually it's around 1.25%, his was based off 1.25% of $200,000. It ends up saving him, $4,000 a year roughly by being able to transfer that tax.
That's one of those propositions that the politicians put in that I'm real happy about. And so is Prop 13. I mean, Prop 13 locks in your tax value so that you're not reassessed. We're one of the only states, if not the only state, in the United States that doesn't reassess annually. Most states, as values increase, they reassess. As values decrease, they reassess. We're locked in. Now, if they go down and you bought top of the market, you can actually request a reassessment and get the lower amount. And it can only go back up to the height of where you were at originally. And so that's a huge benefit here in California that none of the other states know. And if you have any questions, you can hit us up on our line, 619-663-SELL, 619-663-7355.
With that Prop 13, Jason, so if let's say you bought your house at $600,000 and it was assessed on that, then the values go down. You can apply to have it reassessed. Let's say it goes down to $400,000. Then values shoot back up, and it ends up being worth $800,000.
Just goes back to the $600,000.
So it's never going to exceed that.
Never goes over the original value. Now, the only causes to that is if you do some home improvements over 500 square feet that are permitted, which you should always probably get permits when you do stuff, they can reassess your home. If you transfer title and don't do it properly, they could reassess. So you want to make sure you're working with people who understand when you're transferring title. I've had people come to me after the case. You can't fix it. Once it's done, it's done. People went, well, somebody told me just to transfer it here and transfer this just so I could get a refinance done. And I'm like, did you already do it? They're like, yeah. And I got this reassessment bill. I said, now you're stuck with that. They can't reverse the clock. Once you make that mistake, it's done. So make sure you're working with somebody that truly understands how to vest your home properly to make sure you don't pay additional property taxes.
I love it. So you're getting some awesome knowledge. Again, Matt Rinkey, Illumination Wealth, Jason Hall, Team Home Loans. This is some great knowledge if you're listening to the show on just some ways you can save money on your property taxes, with your income taxes. This is great stuff, guys. If you want to learn more from these experts, 619-663-SELL, 619-663-7355. I want to head to a break, but when we get back, Matt, I know you've got some real estate tax loopholes that you want to get into. So we're going to share that when we get back from the break. You're listening to Whissel Wednesdays here on AM 1170, The Answer.